Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us this morning. I'm excited to get started on our February chapter meeting. So first up today, we've got our minutes from our January meeting. Vanessa, would you care to review those for us?
Certainly. Good morning, everyone. The minutes we're going to read are from the January 25th meeting that we held virtually. The meeting was called to order by our president, who welcomed those present. Minutes for the November chapter meeting were presented and approved because we did not have a December meeting. The Treasury report was presented and approved as well. And it was also reported that the financial update would also be available in the chapter newsletter. So if you missed the meeting, you were still able to view those. A membership report was presented, and then the following announcements were made. Invoices for membership have been sent out, and then the next chapter meeting, which was today, was announced. Our president introduced our guest speaker, Rick Mason, who is the director of professional recruiting with the University of Kentucky. The training was an overview of the graduate programs offered by UK. Announcements were called from the group, and those were that CFSB was hiring. The workforce development was working with employers regarding federal funding for possible reimbursement for hiring those individuals displaced from the December tornadoes. And then our meeting was adjourned.
Thank you so much. Next up, Marion, would you like to review our treasurer report for the month of January?
I'll be glad to. Share my screen here. Melissa Prigg is our treasurer and always does an outstanding job with our treasurer's report, and we appreciate the work that she does. The report that I'm showing on my screen is for the month of January 2022. We had a balance on hand at the end of December of $15,393.85. We had various expenditures that we had during the month. We received income from memberships because in December is the beginning of our fiscal year. So we had several members go ahead and join. Send in those memberships. So we had $2,724.04 in memberships. We also had a sponsorship for our fourth quarter networking event. As you all remember, the group went to Patty's for Christmas. And we had sponsorships from CFSB Bank as well as People Plus. Our expenditures, we had in our monthly column, we had expenditures for our, Alan, can you watch the admitting, please?
I am. Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's what's throwing me off. Thank you. So under our professional services, we had $1,500 worth of expenditures for our Zoom account, our constant contact. We also have Dropbox that we use to maintain all of the chapters. Documents that we have archives going back to the early 2000s. We also had recognition awards that was in that expenditure. So for a total expense of $1,787.51 for an ending balance of January of $16,630. We've been watching. So that is the end of January report. We also have been receiving paid memberships. We have, you'll hear the number at the end of or in the membership report, but we've had several members who have already submitted their payments. We also have many others who, new members who have joined us. February has been very active for us in our membership drive. So you can, if you can see that screen and see those names, you can confirm that we got your payment, including those that came through our Stripe account on the website. So unless there's any questions, that is the treasurer's report.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. As we are just moving right along here, next we have Cassandra. I think you're on the call, I believe. If you'd like to give us an update on our membership.
Good morning, everyone. So right now, we currently have 36 members, and so we appreciate everyone being already registered for the conference and paying their dues on time. Anyone else on the call that would like to become a member, we'd love to have you, and just let us know. We can get you the information and point you in the right direction.
Thank you, Cassandra. So 36 members. We ended the year last year with 48, I believe, we're actually ahead of where we normally are this time compared to last year, where we're this time last year. But I'm going to skip around on my agenda a little bit, and because it's a perfect plug to talk to you for just a second about something exciting we have coming up, and that's our brand new Four Rivers SHRM website is now live and is available for you all to join. I just put out the link in the comment or in the chat box there, but I invite you all to take a quick gander at that. If you are not currently a member of our Four Rivers SHRM chapter, we certainly invite you to do that. As a reminder, here in just a moment, Marianne's going to discuss our conference coming up in March, and Four Rivers SHRM members do get to attend that free of charge. So your window of opportunity is running low there. You can join our chapter very quick and easy directly from our website, as well as view the blog, view upcoming events going on in our chapter, register for those events, and there's going to be so much more we'll be adding to this over time. So very excited to let you all know about that. And then along with that, then Marianne's going to give us an update on our upcoming conference for March.
Once again, I'm going to share my screen because we are so excited about what's coming up. After 2 years of not being able to offer a professional conference, we are once again offering our conference on March 16th, Wednesday, March 16th. We'll be at the Murray State Regional Campus there in Paducah. We have an outstanding lineup of speakers that will be with us that day. We have 2 keynote speakers that will be joining us. The first, our morning keynote speaker, will be Mr. Lyle Hanna of Hanna Resource in Lexington. Many of you know Lyle, you know his reputation, definitely. He's the founding father of the best places to work in Kentucky. He's going to be talking about the evolving profession of HR. As you all well know, the constantly evolving profession that you're in, the one thing that stays the same is that things are going to change. So he's going to be talking about that. Then we have 3 breakout sessions that you can choose to attend. They will be repeated that morning. So we have Mr. Brad Patrick, who is with the University of Kentucky, who's going to be talking about HR analytics. We have Brad Shook, who is from the University of Louisville, and I apologize if I mispronounced that name. He's going to be talking about, employee engagement. That's what he's going to be talking about. And then finally, we have Mr. Nick Cora, who is from Paycor, who will be talking about retention services and recruitment. So we're excited about them coming down. And then our lunch keynote speaker is Mary Chetty, who is with National SHRM. She is the East Divisional Director and will be joining us, giving our lunch presentation. We're very excited about that. We're not aware that we've ever had anyone from National SHRM join us for the conference. And then in the afternoon, we've put together a workshop so that you can walk away with a few tools, a few ideas, and just some things to think about. The workshop is about disaster planning. And Terry Ray, our Murray State Professor and College Relations Coordinator, will be leading that workshop. She's going to be sharing information and tools from SHRM itself, where you can go and find this information. Then we have the Callaway County Emergency Manager, who's going to be talking about the first 24 hours after any kind of disaster, not just like what we experienced in December, but other disasters that we've experienced, whether it's ice storms, whether it's floods, whether it's any kind of disaster that may affect your company. And then we also have a couple of panelists who are joining us to talk about the emergency plans their companies had in place and how they were able to implement them and what they needed to do. So we're very excited. It's a packed day. We are thrilled to be able to offer this conference. So you can see on the screen the flyer. There is a Ellen, what is it?
QR code.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, boomer, can't help it. A QR code that you can use. We have it posted on our media links at Facebook and also at LinkedIn. You'll be receiving emails. You probably have already started receiving emails. Members who have already paid their 2022 dues will be able to attend free, but there is a registration link that I will be sending you and have already sent you. Those who are not members, you can attend for $40. Or if you want to go ahead and pay your membership at the same time, there's a link where you can pay the membership of $195 and you will be able to attend the conference for free. So we're real excited. We hope you are too. It's going to be a really good day just to be able to be back together again.
Good morning.
In this type of
How are you?
event. So unless there's any questions, Alan, I will turn it right back over to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I agree that the conference is going to be, it's going to be great. I'm very much so looking forward to seeing you all in person again. It's been a while since we've been able to all kind of get together like that. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. Next up, I'm very excited to introduce our speaker today. I know she's amongst us. Yeah, there she is. Okay, I was like, because I saw her pop on, so I know she's here today. I'm so excited to introduce Jeanne again. Jeanne spoke with us a few months ago. Today we're on a different topic, but Jeanne, for those of you that don't know, she is a certified financial planner and a CPFA with Strategic Retirement Partners. So over the past decade, she's built a successful practice serving as an investment advisor and financial consultant for families and businesses. She's recognized by industry leaders and colleagues for the original content she posts on her social media channels. Topics range from anywhere from personal finance tips all the way to employer sponsor plans and practice management advice for finance professionals. So very much all encompassing there. You can find her easily by using the hashtags 401k lady and CFP Pro. You can find her on, I know, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, that sort of thing. Her utilization of social media promotes education for clients and helps attract and retain prospects. Her accessible way of providing virtual advice and engagement is creating a more collaborative platform for financial professionals to support each other and their clients in the digital age. And just a personal testimony, Jeanne works closely with us at CFSB, and she and her team are fantastic and very easy to work with. I'm very excited to introduce Jeanne to everyone.
Oh, Alan, thank you so much. You don't have to read all of that.
If you'll notice, I skipped a little this time. I skipped a little.
Well, thank you guys so much. If somebody would give me the chance to share my screen, I think the host has it disabled. And while they do that, I will let you guys know, did you get the line of storms this morning over there? Okay, well, they have arrived in Bowling Green and the woods outside my office window are going crazy. So if you see me like ducking, it's because of the storm. But if I lose power, we should be good. I should be able just to go off my laptop. There we go. Okay, can we see now? I really want to make this bigger. I'm not as adept at Zoom anymore. There we go. And yes, I did not follow instructions and I was sitting in the Teams link in case I gave anybody a heart attack. Okay, guys, so my screen should be up. So today's a little bit different. You know, typically I'm talking about like the retirement plan and things like that. This is a topic that is not necessarily an area of expertise. I will openly say that, but it is something that I've had endless conversations about with clients and just with other people in the industry. I'm actually responsible for organizing the Total Rewards Conference for Tennessee this year. And a lot of the conversation is around this type of thing. So a little bit outside of my comfort zone, please engage and discuss this with me because you have personal experiences that I don't have. And I'm going to pull from you guys. But basically, we wanted to ask the question, you know, your benefits are boring. How do we spice them up? And of course, this whole conversation, I'm going to skip through this. You guys know this. This whole conversation is predicated on the fact that we are in the middle of the Great Resignation, which if you're like anybody else I know, you are struggling to recruit and retain. 4 million Americans are leaving their job every month. That stat's falling a little bit. It's not as much as it was, but it's still holding fairly steady, especially because January tends to be a big turnover month naturally anyway. I'm not surprising any of you when I bring this up. Others have called it the Great Reckoning. Statistics show that our frontline minority low-income workers are perhaps more affected, which was surprising to me. They're the ones more likely to leave. And ADP did do a survey, and they found that of the people who changed jobs, on average, they were receiving a 6% pay increase. So if you've lost a key employee in the last year or so, chances are they moved for at least or on average a 6% pay increase. So some, call it the great promotion. It could actually be better. We also have what people are calling epiphany quitters. And this is not necessarily people who are quitting for money, but they're quitting because they want to find a position where they feel extremely valued, or they're using this opportunity to do something that they really want to do. I watch the CBS Sunday morning news show every Sunday. It's like an old lady habit I picked up from my parents, but they had a whole session or a whole package one time on just people who left corporate jobs or regular jobs and went and did something totally different. So they profiled a lady who was in marketing and she became a veterinarian. They were profiling an accountant who went to become a baker. People are just using this change, in time to really change what they're doing with their lives. So it's not just a numbers game. It's not just how do I pay you more? It's also, how do I make you feel valued in this job? How do I make this a job that you're truly enjoying? We also have a labor shortage. Now, this is one of the economic aspects that I want to hammer home, because when you're talking to your C-suite and they're like, why do we have these open positions? Why are we struggling to fill this? Here's the data and the stats you can take back so they can have a better understanding. We have all of these people who have quit their jobs. You economically are probably booming. Most of you have come out of the recession and you're doing well. Your company's growing. You need more workforce. So you're growing anyway. You're probably losing some employees and we're having trouble replacing them. And that's because we have a severe labor shortage. In econ, we're actually changing the way that we talk about these things. The Fed used to always describe it full employment. Are we at full employment? They don't even use that term anymore because we're at full employment and it's not enough. What we need is maximum employment. And the way they define that is full employment is, in general, are the people who are looking for jobs getting them? Are they available and are they getting them? Maximum employment is how many people out there are not looking for jobs that we need to be working, like that our economy needs to get back in the workforce. So what we had during COVID were early retirements. A lot of boomers, it's estimated about 3 to 4 million retired earlier than they would have. We have a lot of parents leaving the workforce. Now, this is particular to women, especially on the woman front. It's estimated that 3 million women left the workforce during COVID. Now, I'm going to reference this a couple of times because I'm a mom of 2 school-age kids, and I can tell you it was a struggle and remains to be a struggle. Childcare is still not entirely reliable. So we had essentially 3 million women just say, you know what, or in general people, but primarily women, throw up their hands and say, I'm going to leave the workforce. True story. I have a friend here in Bowling Green. We have city and county schools. So I'm not sure exactly how you guys do it in your territories, but our county schools have had struggles with substitute teachers, and we've had snow days, we've had tornado days. I mean, you're living the natural disaster life we are. And she has ran through almost all of her vacation days in 6 weeks because she's having to take a vacation day to stay home with her child. They've had 10 NTI days. And that there's women and men all over the country that are dealing with this. So women have left the workforce. And then we also have smaller families. We knew this was going to be an issue demographically. right? We had the baby boomers, and then all the boomers had millennials, and now we're having smaller and smaller families. So we still have all of these jobs open, but we just actually have a smaller workforce there to fulfill them. This is the chart that you show your C-suite, okay? The light blue line is job openings. The dark blue line is people looking for jobs. There are almost 11 million job openings. There's only 6.3 million people actually looking for a job. I don't know if anybody on this call knows Beth Riddle. I was actually in Paducah just on Friday meeting with Beth, and she was complaining or bringing up like they're having trouble recruiting. She's recruiting 4 recruiters. And she said, it's almost like they're interviewing me. Like they call me and are like, well, why would I want to take this job? And I was like, of course they are, Beth. The average person you're recruiting will get 3 job offers before they accept one. So you're one of many. And also for every 3 job openings that are out there, there's only 2 people to fill it. There's not enough workers. So this is why we're all struggling. We talked about it being the great promotion. I told you that ADP found on average, everyone who moves or changes jobs is actually getting a 6% pay increase. There's more to it. Typically, we're finding the greater the pay increase, of course, on the lower income worker. So you really are seeing that translation of higher wages. Our white collar workers are seeing increases in pay, but they're actually also going for better benefits. That's truly what they're going for. More better benefits, more flexible work environment, that sort of thing. One of the things that I had talked to Beth about that I have seen personally that I would recommend to you is to protect yourself against boomerang employees and maybe consider looking for your own boomerang employees. Have you guys heard of this term before? The boomerang employee is somebody who worked for you that comes back to you. Now, what you're looking for is somebody who left on good terms, maybe before the pandemic. They left for different reasons. Maybe they had higher pay, whatever it is. I can give you, we had a woman who worked here for SRP that left ADP, came to SRP because she wanted to work from home and she wanted higher pay, right? Well, they called her back and said, hey, we'll give you even higher pay and we'll let you work from home if you come back to ADP. It's funny, I know of ADP taking another client. They have taken this boomerang employee to the next level. So
First one have my name on it.
Oh. So a couple of things to take away from here. If you're one of those that's truly struggling, like cannot fill places or cannot fill positions, go back and take a look at who your staff was in 2019. Go through the list. Who was a good employee? Why did they leave? Did they leave on good terms? How nice would it be to have that person back? And you too can go back and try to recruit them. You're a known entity. They're a known entity. They know your culture. They know your processes. The onboarding, the training is shorter. If it maybe nowadays you can easily meet what they're looking for and get them back in a good spot. So also, watch out for people coming back for your current employees. Someone may be tapping into you and your team to get a boomerang employee. So tips for recruiting, the first and the last are pretty much the same. Reevaluate strict in-office requirements. 70% of the workforce was remote in 2020. It worked. It worked for a lot of people and they liked it. I know this is a very company culture specific thing. I know some have just adopted it. Sure, fine, we'll be flexible. I know others have said, absolutely not. That's not going to work for us. And of course you have roles. A bank teller, is not going to be able to be remote. We know that that's the case, but you can explain that to an employee and they can understand it. I'm a bank teller. I can't be remote. But if the employee's sitting there thinking, I can be remote and I was remote and it was perfectly fine, you're going to have to come up with a way to coach them through that. If you can be more flexible, that's what the people want. 80% of people will take a pay cut to have some degree of remote work. That's what people want. We also recommend that you write success profiles. That was not necessarily a term I had heard before, but I really like it. It's something that I think we'll adopt in our business. We're all really good at writing job descriptions. I say I'm not good at writing a job description. You guys are all good at writing job descriptions. But the recommendation is, and you won't do this for everybody. You won't do this for every position you have, but let's say there's a key role you're trying to fill. Like, this is an important role. This is a leadership role. This person's going to impact a lot of people. In addition to the job description, write the success profile. The type of person that's going to be successful in this role has these characteristics. They're outgoing, they're empathetic, they're a good listener, they're a good communicator, they're a team player, right? Like, these are the personalities that are going to make them thrive. When you have the job description in conjunction with the success profile, it should help you actually line up your candidates in a way where you can be like, this person is a good fit, because it's hard to hire. So we want to make sure we hire the right person the first time. And I'll throw something in here because I had some really good conversation with a client about this like a couple weeks ago, and I haven't gotten in the presentation yet. You know, he was struggling a little bit with turnover, and it was a good company, good brand name. It would surprise you that he was struggling with turnover, but we were telling him about some unusual bonuses that companies had been doing to improve retention. And perhaps the most unusual is a tech company out of Texas that is paying employees to quit at the 2-week mark. They are paying their employees $5,000 to quit at the 2-week mark, because the time and money that goes into training the employees is pretty extensive. And the owner of the company felt that employees knew by 2 weeks whether it was going to work or not, but they were less inclined, they were going to wait a little bit, try to find something better. Like, they knew it probably wasn't going to work out long-term, but of course they weren't going to quit right away. And so he decided to weed out those people by saying, if you quit at the 2-week mark, I'll pay you $5,000. And very few people have taken him up on it, but the people who have, he's like, if they're willing to take $5,000 to leave full-time employment, then they weren't going to stay anyway. That's how he's getting them out. The other interesting story, and this is seasonal. So I don't know if you guys have any big seasonal workers, but if you do, this might work for you. Vail Ski Resorts was staffed, but was just having so much trouble with retention. So they decided to give everybody on staff a $2 an hour raise, except it wouldn't be paid until it was retroactively on the last day of the season. So everybody got a raise, but you had to stay the whole ski season and work the final day to get it. So maybe if you have seasonal workers or a big production push, or you're one of those where you're just like, I got to get them through this, give them a raise retroactively, require them to be there at the end of the project or whatever it is. So wage inflation is real. Inflation is real. Many of us are not used to it. Now we're seeing it. My grocery bill is ridiculous. It's very frustrating. But wages are also inflating. This is like the sword you're going to have to go to battle with when you're talking to your CFO. Most CFOs are just budgeting for a 3 to 4% increase in salary budgets. It's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. Wages have inflated, but right now, even a 3 to 4% wage inflation is not keeping up with real inflation, which means even if you are granting your employees a 3 to 4% COLA, they're still getting a pay cut. The yellow line is average earnings. This is hourly, by the way. This is not salaries. They're hourly employees. You can see the average hourly earnings, 5.5%. The blue line is inflation, 6.2. So wages may have inflated by 5%. Everybody's still working for less money because of inflation. So the catch here is we're having to pay more to recruit new employees, which is already putting a strain on the budget. But my concern is that we may inadvertently forget our existing employees because there's only so much money to go around. But if we don't keep our existing employees up with inflation, we're just going to lose them, right? I would say for a decade now, your controller, your CFO, when they're building the budget, increases in human capital and labor have not been a meaningful part of budget building. They've not. They've looked at how to invest in technology. They've looked at how to invest in expansion in mergers and acquisitions, but it's not been a, how do we reinvest back in human capital? Like that's not been a conversation. And now we're like what's the phrase? There's like the pipers, or I don't know, the cranes come into roost, or I feel like there's a good Southern phrase for this, but we're about to pay for the fact that we haven't had wage inflation or inflation in general in a decade. And now we're really going to be investing in human capital. I'll pause there. Any questions about or commentary on the Great Resignation, the Great Promotion, inflation? I can't see the chat bar
Hey,
anymore.
Jeannie, this is Alan. Yeah, I would definitely preaching to the choir, at least for us. We've definitely seen that we are paying higher. We were already according to our salary surveys and local schedules and things like that, we were already bringing people on at a higher rate, but we've had to increase that as well, which has created pay compression, throughout the rest of our population here at the bank. And we've had to seriously reevaluate those things. And that's definitely the conundrum, is how to be able to properly combat that while still maintaining the level of benefits that you have and maintaining the level of service that you have, and trying to keep other prices constant. So thank you for bringing that up. That's definitely a pain point right now.
It's a really interesting pain point too, just because in our specific areas, and as you know, I work for a workforce board. So I'm having a lot of conversations with our HR community. They're asking for wage reviews. They're asking for information to be able to know where to go next. And I'm happy to provide them that information. But we started with depressed wages to begin with.
Oh, you started behind.
We started behind. And so even the 6% that we saw an increase really only averages out to be about 3% between the 2 years each. So we're seeing a lot of movement on wages right now. And we're seeing less of the sign-on bonuses, which is what we saw a lot of last year. That has now translated into bringing those wages up and being competitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
In addition to all of those things, we're also seeing for recruitment in general, we are spending way more money than we have in our entire history on advertising and trying to get creative with how we're recruiting people. And we have found that we've spent historically, our marketing dollars, have gone to promotion of our products and services, right? So we spend a lot of money promoting what we have to sell as a business, but now we are having to pivot, commandeer some of those dollars. It's like we got to have people to offer those products and services. So we're spending more money on advertising and recruitment than we ever have. So they definitely have gone hand in hand.
That is so interesting. And it's the perfect segue. At this point, I normally say, you guys were firefighters for 2 years. Like fires came and you put them out. You've been, because you've had to be reactive to the pandemic and whatever was happening and where your workforce was actually going to be that day. And now on a dime, you're pivoting to sales. Like everybody in HR right now who does a recruiting role, I'll say that, is in sales. You're having to sell your company to people. It's just like Beth said, like, I feel like they're interviewing me and I'm trying to interview them. It's changed. So we know wages are inflating. We know that this is a challenge, but back to kind of the ideas we were going to bring in this presentation, what can we do from a benefit perspective? What I'm trying to get you guys to do in the next few slides is just think creatively. Some of these you're going to hear and you're going to think there's no way in heck my company is going to implement that. Totally get it. But that's what happens when you go creatively, right? You're throwing darts at a board, trying to find new ideas that just may stick. So I'm bringing just random ideas to the table that you can add to your benefit package that maybe makes you a little bit more attractive than the guy next door.
I have one comment, Jean. This is Kim Jones. Just something I think everybody needs to think about with their hourly workforce. A lot of times your hourly workforce may have some social benefits combined with their hourly position. So if they get an increase of $2 or $3, that could bump them out of their statewide medical care, their SNAP benefits, all those benefits that supplement that low wage. So we did a study back at an old organization that we had because we were trying to figure out what the right increase was going to be. And the realization was that we really needed to go from $10 to $12 an hour to 24, because if we went from 10 to 12 or 13 or 14, that knocked them out of free medical insurance, SNAP benefits, that supplement. And if we didn't go up high enough, then they lost all their benefits, but they also didn't have enough money for the inflation of food, the medical care to take out. So be mindful of that. Sometimes your employee, you might want to do a survey. Your employee may say, hey, unless you're going to give me a substantial increase, leave me alone, because I can't afford to lose a housing benefit or a Medicaid benefit or a SNAP benefit if you just raise me $2 or $3.
That is such a good observation. Phenomenal ad. I mean, something that I guess I've been aware of in the back of my mind, but not, not at the forefront. So can I ask, did
Sure.
you do the few dollar raise so they could maintain benefits, or did you do the raise above benefits?
No, there was no budget to go that much of an increase. So we realized our employees were very, I would say, extremely stressed with finding out that they may get a bump, because they needed to manage what was that going to look like, because our benefit package was so significantly, it was for child and mother or child and father, you're talking an extra $100 a month. Well, that raises their budget to $400, and that doesn't even charge them what it's going to take for them to go to the doctor. So I highly recommend an employee survey on that, or a walk around by management to find out, who it would impact. We knew that if we went even from 10 to 12, we lost employees just based off that significant amount, because the borderline there of the wages to take to get those benefits, which rightfully so. If they're going to be 100% responsible for food, medical, housing, you would have to see a significant increase.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, and you can see from the employee perspective, of course, it's like, I appreciate the raise, but it's actually hurting me in the long run.
That's exactly what we had. And yeah, so unfortunately, there's not a budget to double wages, right?
Yeah, right.
And then you don't want to lose your employees because you raised it a couple of dollars, or you gave them a bonus, which then put them over the threshold. So it's something to remember when you're balancing that. You might see, like, I don't understand, we gave raises. That might be what we're still seeing turnover. That might be why.
Excellent observation. Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's take a look at benefits, and we're going to start with easy ones. We're going to start with #perks. Okay, these aren't major sweeping benefit changes. These are just little things that maybe could be implemented. Some of you probably have an employee price catalog. If you have a parking lot, maybe one day you do complimentary car washes and detailing, maybe for people who've been recognized or received rewards. Gym membership discounts, those can be built where if the employee is using them, like going twice a month, then the employer pays for it. If it's not being used, then the employee pays for it. That way you're not just like paying for gym memberships that aren't used. Free wearable swag, it goes a long way. I'm going to add on that too. Jeanne Day goes a long way. Jeanne Day goes an incredibly long way. We were meeting with a client, a bank, which banks are, generally more, and not Alan's team, but, generally banks are a little bit more dressy. And everybody was wearing jeans, and the president walked by and said, I thought we weren't doing jeans anymore. And they basically were like, get out of here. It's not even up for discussion anymore. Blue light screen protectors, in-office massages. You guys see those people at the SHRM conferences, right? Set up in their booth. You can walk up and get a massage, maybe have somebody in the break room one day. Out of office volunteer opportunities, lunchtime speakers, something just like this, right? Bring somebody in at lunchtime. Child-friendly holiday parties, Free drinks after 5, depending upon your company's culture, you can decide what those drinks are. I used to work in an office where we had fun free drinks after 5. So perks, right? Little things that we can do to show our appreciation. Benefits for parents. These mean a lot to me. This is a personal one to me. Also, we know, right, that part of the reason we have a major labor shortage is because of parents struggling to work and have small children. So a child care reimbursement, a dependent care FSA if you don't offer it, diapers and wipes subscription. When a new child is born in your company, you know what? You can give them a $500 diapers and wipes subscription that delivers diapers and wipes to their door for 6 months or 12 months. And it's huge. Summer camp for kids. Summer care for children is a challenge. Do you know what else it is? It's really expensive. So if you can grant your employees, camp vouchers to send their kids to camp for a week, you're adding to the employee's experience too, trust me. A new baby fund, paid parental leave. I know we're not Norway. I think Norway literally has 12 months paid parental leave, but a few weeks here and there is nice. That would go a long way. Hospital grade breast pumps. If you're a larger facility, having, the room set aside for nursing mothers and a hospital grade pump would be very nice. Free travel companion for new moms. This is very specific, but would be very powerful. If you have women in roles that require travel, so think of like a saleswoman who's a new mom. If you allow a travel companion to go with her and you pay the expense of the travel, of course, it's one hotel room, right? But you pay the expense of the travel, that, you know what that new mom can do? She can take the nursing baby with her. I would do this every time if this was offered to me. I would travel with my new baby. I would take a companion whose expenses were covered also. And then when I did the speaking engagement or I met with a client, they could watch the baby. I'm not separated from my newborn. And it's not necessarily an additional expense. If you have key, these aren't like ERISA benefits, right? I mean, you could single out one particular key employee that maybe fits this unique role and offer this to them. Complimentary breast milk shipping and bring your kid to work day. Flex time. We've talked about it for 3 years now. It's not going away. Anything we can do to be more flexible in the environment. Now, of course, this is going to be more, white collar. This is going to be your office workers, but it doesn't always have to be. Agile Fridays and summer Fridays. Even if you have people like, and I'm going to go back to the teller example, right? Like somebody who has to be there. You can still implement an Agile Friday where naturally two Fridays, every other Friday or 2 Fridays a month, they get a half day. Now it's up to the department to make sure that it's covered, right? Make sure that there's, people where they need to be, but Agile Fridays, half day Fridays, summer Fridays. When you give the employees the opportunity to do that, you'll find out very quickly they figure out how to work it out. They're going to figure out how to cover it if it means that they get every other half Friday. Flexible office hours. If you can, you won't be able to, but if you can, if somebody says, I really want to work 7 to 4 and you can allow it, let them. This is what we have to do in this environment. Technology reimbursement, the 4-day work week, which is actually being widely adopted in Europe. Productivity increases 40% when you have a 4-day work week. Mainly because people are literally doing the same job and the same amount of work. They're just hustling to get it done in 4 days, but also because they use that day off to have their doctor's appointments, to run their errands, to do all the things that they need to do, to schedule their kids' doctor's appointments, all the things that they would normally have to take a day off for or take time off for. People are really good about scheduling that in their 1 day out of the office. Partially remote and transitional retirement. Transitional retirement to me is the probably the most, I think this will be one of the most widely adopted things that comes out of the pandemic. It's very common again in Europe. Here in America, we built this assumption that like you work 40 hours a week, 50, 60 hours a week, and then you get to retirement, you retire and you walk away and you never work again. That's actually the worst way to do it. You lose a seasoned, talented employee that you need, and that person suffers mentally. It's extremely hard to go from being needed and productive and having something to do every day to not having anything to do. So I've watched personal planning clients be offered this from their employers, and I've watched 401k clients offer this. As people near retirement, if you start hearing from somebody that they're really looking forward to retirement and they're thinking about it, in the back of your head, you're thinking, we can't lose you. We're not ready to replace you. Offer them transitional retirement. Offer them transitional retirement where they only work 3 days a week or they only work 30 hours. Now, here's the thing. Most of them, especially if under the age of 65, will gladly take a pretty substantial pay cut if and only if you keep them on your benefits. What they need is health insurance. When we're building a personal financial plan and we have somebody nearing retirement, we have to build in, if it's a couple, $15,000 to $20,000 a year in health insurance premiums. They aren't eligible for Medicare until they're 65. Health insurance is the number one reason why most people don't retire. So it's the number one reason why you have people working for you that don't want to work there anymore, right? But it's also the number one reason you can keep somebody that you want at least part-time to do a transitional retirement, train somebody up behind them, give a few days out of the office, let that person learn, come back in, coach them through what needs to be done. You would be able to offer significantly less pay as long as you keep them on your benefits. I love transitional retirement. I think everybody should have transitional retirement. And we advise all of our clients to ask their employer for a transitional retirement plan because we think it's better for them.
I agree, Jeannie, but it's because of the fact, if you haven't done a census yet, you will find that 20% of your workforce is 55 years of age or older.
Woo.
And that could have huge impacts. We didn't really plan for how the baby boomer retirement was going to happen with the first half of the boomers, but the next half of the boomers will retire in the next 7 years. And it's 20% of your workforce.
Yeah, we think we're having trouble now. It's only going to get worse.
It's only going to get worse. So these transitional programs it's exactly what we're preaching. So
love it. Love it. I only have one slide. The 401k lady has one slide on the 401k. These are tweaks that we're seeing clients do to their retirement plans. You guys, a 401k is a 401k. Everybody has one. Or everybody has a retirement plan, but there are little things you can do that help. The very first change everybody is making is immediate eligibility. If you still require 1 year before somebody's eligible, and then you still have like quarterly entry dates, it could be a year and 3 months before somebody's even allowed to start saving in the plan. That's just too long in this labor market. I'm not saying you have to make them immediately eligible for the match. If you want to keep your match on a longer time frame, that's a-okay. But amend your plan document to allow that employee to start saving immediately and to enter the plan immediately, and to allow for immediate rollovers. Let them roll over whatever retirement plan they have out there. Shortened vesting. If you still have a 6-year vesting schedule, that's pretty long these days. Again, I think that there's a difference between like your blue collar and your white collar. Your white collar is going to understand this a little bit more than your blue collar. But if you look at a new, corporate employee and you tell them you have to wait a year to get the match, you can't enter for a quarter, and you have to work here for 6 years before it's all yours, they're going to do the math. That's too long for them. Implement auto re-enroll. If you don't have automatic enrollment, auto and re-enroll is a really great way to just wake everybody up again. There's a huge part of your workforce that is intending to save and intending to get the match. They just haven't done it. So this is kind of a way to jolt them, remind them there's a match. You can opt out if you want to, but we're going to do an automatic re-enrollment. It's a really great motivator and reminder. And then add access to a financial advisor, someone they can call if they don't have that. So rethink PTO. We got a call from a client in manufacturing. at the end of last year, and they were explaining to us that they were really struggling with PTO. They allowed some of it to roll, but not very much of it. And they don't cash it out currently. So they had a ton of employees just taking a ton of PTO in November and December, right when manufacturing was peaking. And so then they were having to pay time and a half and overtime to get others to come in to cover them. And it was just not it was not good. So they were like, how do we fix our PTO? First off, if you don't allow a rollover or a cash out, you're kind of like, you're on your own on that one. Most employers are allowing at least a rollover or some form of cash out. Those who are really thinking ahead are writing their plan documents to where PTO can be cashed out and contributed to the 401k. Your high income earners are going to like that. At the end of the year, they have 4 days of PTO. They're not going to use it. They want to cash it out and turn it into a 401k deferral. They can. It's not taxable, and they're popping it into savings. That's a really great way to use your PTO. One of the things that we've discovered in our research for this client is something called PTO Genius. And it's basically opening up different avenues and different options for how your employees can use PTO. So, they could cash it out in check form if they want to, or they could cash it out and put it on things like their student loan or into their 401k, different options. So, now you're looking at somebody and you're saying, you've got 6 days of PTO, and they're like, I'm only going to use 2, but I'll take the 4 remaining and I'll cash it out and put it into a savings account or something like that. So PTO Genius, there's a whole lot more to it. There's a whole tracking, like who's taken off when, and it can help with that sort of thing. But it can also basically add more value to those PTO days than just, I got a bunch of PTO I have to take off by the end of the year. And then your company has to turn around and pay time and a half to replace that person. Let them cash out their PTO and put it towards something valuable and let them come to work. Let me skip that one. So Bucket List is another interesting resource that I came across. We have generally, you guys all have some type of employee reward and recognition program, which is really at the heart of what Bucket List is. But it also allows the employees to go in and identify things that would be of value to them. So, you can reward an employee and give them a gift card to Olive Garden, or you can reward an employee and give them a sweatshirt, right? There's things that you can do. If you have Bucket List, your employees can actually go in and identify things that are of interest to them, like a home gym or a golf getaway. And this can track employee recognition. And when you go to reward them or bonus them, you can bonus them something that is personal and meaningful to them, right? You're letting them decide what's valuable. So the dollar you spend on that bonus is going further because it's valuable to them. It's what they chose. Match anything. I won't spend a lot of time on this because I'm pretty sure this is what I talked about in November. I talked about matching student loans, matching 529 savings, matching emergency savings accounts. These are blowing up. This is everywhere. These match anything programs. These are 3 of the most common providers. I have the most experience with Flex Match. Benefit Ed is another big one. Future Fuel is another big one. These are administrators that basically take, like if I have a $200 a month student loan payment, they take that from my paycheck. There can or doesn't have to be, but generally there's an employer match, and then the third party administrator remits that to the student loan, the savings account, the 529 account, whatever it is. These are very quickly growing in popularity. Okay, so final tips. As you evaluate your benefits package, first and foremost, and this was I think Kim was who spoke up earlier, but understand your demographics. Okay. Get a good picture of how old your average employee is, their average income. Maybe you even need to class them out in a certain way. We have, not that you have a union, but we have, this union and this not, or this blue collar and this white collar. Class them out, get a good picture of who you even have. We recommend sending out surveys. I have a couple sample surveys I can provide. that just asks questions like, which of these are your biggest concerns? Which benefits do you value the most? Do you have student loans? Does your spouse have student loans? Look at who's actually using vision insurance, who's actually using dental insurance. What's your uptake on those? If there's not a lot, then maybe the different benefits should be offered. A good example of this is Fidelity. They did a survey. They offered $1,000 technology reimbursement for home laptops, and they found virtually nobody was using it because everybody had a home laptop, right? Like nobody needed the $1,000. So Fidelity turned around and said, fine, we'll give everybody $1,000 on their student loans. Way more valuable, right? That was just them pausing to look at their benefits package to say what's used and what's not used. Aim to provide value to all. That's difficult. The way you do that is by trying to be as flexible as possible. And at the end of the day, letting the employee choose. If you're going to offer X amount of dollars in benefits, do whatever you can to let the employee choose what's valuable to them. And then, of course, conduct a cost benefit analysis, which I know is easier said than done, but truly evaluate what you're spending on your benefits, where you're getting the most value, and if maybe you need to make some changes. So I'll stop there and stop sharing my screen when I can find the thing. Where's the thing? Any questions, comments, observations? I was sharing my screen that whole time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now I don't know how to stop sharing.
Start over.
Oh my gosh, right? I was like, surely you didn't let me go an hour and not tell me I was sharing.
No, that was
Should
great. Thank you
it
very
should
much.
be at the top of your screen. If you move your mouse, it should be there.
Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't find the Zoom thing. There it is. I found it.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Any questions or comments or thoughts for me? No?
I don't have any further questions. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to go over that with us. I took some better notes this time too on some of the other things I know that I want to look at. So I definitely appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are excellent. You have excellent participation and turnout. Phenomenal chapter. And I wish you guys luck. We won't be able to make the March event, but I wish you luck in it. It sounds fantastic.
Thank you. Yes, we are definitely looking forward to it. So thank you again, Jeannie. We certainly appreciate your time today. As always, it's always awesome to have you on for our chapter meetings. You have such great information to share with our group. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for attending today. That was our speaker presentation. And then next up, we have any other announcements or anything that need to be made. Does anyone have any announcements to make to the group? Any job openings or any HR job openings?
Well, I just wanted to share, Alan. So the testing window for the SHRM exam just finished on February 15th. We had quite a few people that took the test, and we had quite a few people. We had several people that passed. So just congratulations to those that studied really, really hard over the last few months. And I just wanted to say, for those of you that are thinking about taking the SHRM exam, but it can be expensive. It can be expensive for the learning materials, but I just wanted to encourage you to really consider it. And if anybody wants to talk through that, I would be happy to talk with them.
Well, thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you very much. We have Four Rivers SHRM has an awesome program to help assist you with some of those costs. So definitely, please feel free to reach out. Catherine has volunteered her time to be able to speak with you about that. So thank you. And also, just a fun little shout out. So Catherine is one of those people that has officially passed her SHRM certification. So we are so happy for Catherine. It is a lot of time and effort that goes into studying and preparing for that. So that's awesome that she finished it. Also, Latoya Burton, if she's on the call today, she passed. She is now a SHRM certified professional. And then Mindy Smith, our past president, she passed and she is now a SHRM senior certified professional. So big round of applause and congratulations to everyone who has successfully been able to pass that certification. And in addition to that, as I said before, we do offer some assistance with that. We offer study groups. We have different ways to help get you prepared. You don't have to do it by yourself. So if that is something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out to us. And are there any other announcements or anything? And thank you all so much for such a great turnout. I would like to remind you one more time, conference coming up on March 16th. Register for that, look for that in our newsletter. You can visit our brand new website, that is fourrivers.shrm.org, for all the information that you need about the conference, joining, paying for your membership, all those sorts of things. Thank you all so much and have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.